Hey guys, it's an exciting week to be a Barca fan. After a magnificent win yesterday against Sevilla, we got a really exciting week coming up. We got Bayern Munich on Wednesday and Real Madrid on Saturday. So, without a doubt, the two most challenging rivals that we've had in the Spanish league so far. Now, the two games I think are going to be extremely different. Against Bayern, I think we're going to see two teams with very similar ideas. Both teams trying to dominate each other, trying to press high, trying to limit how much the other team can even create. Whereas against Madrid, I think we're going to be seeing something very, very different, where Real Madrid is going to be happy to let us press them and make it a running game, try to hit us on the counter. For today's video, I'm going to focus more on the game against Bayern Munich, and I'll do another video before the Real Madrid game. Bayern Munich this season has been first in the German league. They've got 17 points after 7 games, so 5 wins, 2 draws. So fairly good. Not one of their best starts ever, but also not bad at all, right? Whereas Barca has had one of its best starts ever. I mean, 9 wins in 10 games. You really can't get much better than that. But as far as tomorrow's game is concerned, I don't really think that we necessarily have any significant advantages. Bayern is going to be a very difficult team to beat, without a doubt, because although we have been playing very well, adopting kind of their style, most of our players have really just been doing that for a few months, whereas what we were doing with Xavi, although there were a lot of elements in common in terms of pressing high and trying to recover the ball in the opponent's half as close to the area as you can. Barca has changed now to a style that's a lot more vertical with the ball. Whenever the team gets chances to counter, they're being a lot more vertical as opposed to retaining the ball a lot more as they did with Xavi. Although that is not to be confused with kind of saying that now we don't try to have possession. Barca still has a lot of possession. It's just a lot more vertical than it was under Xavi and under just about any coach that we've had in the last couple of decades, at least. As I was saying, right, Bayern has been playing with this style for decades. Now, this is the kind of the German counter pressing style that, especially with, I think, to my knowledge, Jurgen Klopp was the one that really took it to a new level in the 2010s with Borussia Dortmund, right? And there's a lot of derivatives of the German school, right? Hansi Flick style, also very similar, counter pressing, very direct. So this is a bit of a case where we are now the ones that are adopting Bayern Munich style, which is interesting considering that Bayern actually took a page of our book about a decade ago when they brought in Guardiola, right? So about 10 years ago, Bayern got Guardiola to learn a bit from our style of football and incorporate it into theirs. And now we're bringing in Hansi Flick, a former Bayern coach that, as many of you will remember, was managing Bayern in 2020 when we had the infamous, uh, yeah, a really dark night for us. The 8-2. Yeah, it's not fun to remember, but at least knowing that the guy who was coaching Bayern is now our coach does make me feel a little bit better, and hopefully we have someone managing the team that knows just how to counter that style of play. What I think is going to be interesting about the game on Wednesday is that we're going to have two teams that are both trying to take it to the extreme level of pressing the opponent really high. We're going to see the defensive line. Both teams' defensive lines are going to be very near to the line in the middle of the pitch. So both teams are going to be pressing high. There's going to be a lot of space to run behind the backs of the defense. So I expect that this is going to be a game with a lot of opportunities going for both sides, for Barcelona and for Bayern. And I think it might just come down to who takes advantage of these opportunities. Now, for Barca, after our memories against Bayern in recent years, in the last decade or so. Barca, I think, has lost the last 6 games we've played against Bayern, which is a very frustrating streak for us. Really, I can't think of any team that has dominated us for as many games as Bayern has. So it would mean a lot to us to be able to win and kind of just get over that mental hump that I think we have every time that we play Bayern now, where it just seems like no matter what we do, they're gonna win. When we played them in back in 2022 when Xavi was in his first full season as a manager, I think that when we played in Munich, I thought Barca was better that game. I thought we could have won that game. We had some clear chances, but we didn't convert them, and then they were able to score their chances. Other than that game, I think the rest of the games against Bayern, they've kind of just been been better. Just had a lot more intensity, and we're just a lot more prepared than we were for those games. So for tomorrow, the keys to the game, I think it's just going to be largely a matter of who commits less errors. Um, our defensive line has been really good at executing the offside trap. However, of course, we cannot forget that our two central defenders right now, Cubarsi and Inigo Martinez, well, Cubarsi on one hand is a 17-year-old who is undersized for a central defender. Now, he has been amazing this season. He is extraordinary when he has the ball. Just offensively, he's about as good as I've seen from a center back in terms of starting the play. But there are going to be situations where we're setting the offside trap where there's going to be mistakes and players are going to be left with space to run. And it's going to be key that we're able to defend those situations well. Now, having guys like Balde on the left who can just go up and down really quickly and correct mistakes thanks to his pace, that can be very useful. But in central positions with Cubarcian and Inigo Martinez, well, we got a couple undersized center backs that are going to really have to make sure that they're at the top of their game to make sure that we're not giving them any clear opportunities. Because Bayern's a team that, with a striker like Harry Kane and players like Musiala, Olise, Gnabry, Coman, they've got a lot of ways that they can hurt you. So it's really going to come down to minimizing mistakes and not giving them clear chances to score. I think these are going to be the keys. In terms of who I think is going to play for Barca, Hansi Flick has kind of suggested that there's no reason for Iñaki Peña to not be starting. So I predict that Peña is going to be starting simply because of what Flick said. And the rest of the lineup, I think, is going to be very similar to what we saw against Sevilla. In the defensive line, I honestly can't imagine anything other than Balde at the left, Cubarsi and Inigo Martinez in the middle, Koundé on the right. In the midfield, I think Casado and Pedri are going to play for sure. Again, I don't see any reason for Casado to not start in the midfield just because Eric Garcia got injured, Dani Olmo, Frankie de Jong, Fermin, and Gavi. They've all seen very limited minutes. And I mean, Gavi just returned this past game against Sevilla. Fermin just returned after being out for a couple months. Dani Olmo and Frankie de Jong didn't play against Sevilla, so I think it's very possible that we're actually going to see the same lineup we saw against Sevilla, with Ansu playing on the left, Rafinha playing at 10, Lamine on the right, and Lewandowski as the striker. However, it is kind of clear that Ansu Fati did not have a very good game against Sevilla. He still looks like he's getting back into his flow, figuring things out, and really wasn't able to contribute much against Sevilla. So I think it's possible that Hansi Flick might decide not to start Ansu Fati. But of course, the question is, who would he put then? Because let's remember Ferran is not available. So would he play Paul Victor for a game like that? I don't think he's going to play Paul Victor. Another option would be to play Rafinha on the left and maybe play Pablo Torre in the attacking midfield position and have Pedri and Casado as the center mids. It's another option. Again, Pablo Torre hasn't seen that many minutes in top tier games, right? In elite football, didn't play that much for Girona last year when he was out on loan. So it'll be interesting to see if Flick decides to take a bet on him. But honestly, considering the lack of contribution from Ansu and the fact that Pablo Torre has actually been playing very well when he's been given a chance and was able to actually score 2 goals against Sevilla, well, he might have just earned himself a starting spot for Wednesday against Bayern. I think that given the limited options that we have, it's a very real possibility that this could happen. If not Pablo Torre, if Frankie De Jong is available, then by all means I think it should be Frankie De Jong and Casado playing kind of in the center mids or double pivot, however you want to call it, and maybe Pedri playing higher up um, in the 10 position, linking up with the attackers. So a lot of different options, and I think it'll largely be a matter of are the players physically ready to play 90 minutes of really high intensity soccer against a team like Bayern Munich? I think that's what it's going to come down to. But regardless of who plays, I think that it's a very exciting time to be a Barca supporter and see that we've got Gavi, Fermin, De Jong, Olmo, all of them coming back into the team, and suddenly we go from a very limited midfield that is having to pull players from other positions from attack, right? Having to move Rafinha or Ansu to the 10 position, or having to move Eddie Garcia to the center mid position. Instead of that, suddenly now we're going to have an abundance of tremendous players in the midfield, and I cannot wait to see what they're going to be able to do under Hansi Flick. So yeah, that's my take. Let me know your thoughts on the comments, and if you want to see more videos like this, hit subscribe and like the video. I'll see you guys next video.